Okay.
All right.
Hi.
We're rolling, as they say.
We're rolling. Show
Hi.
must go on.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Peggy.
I'm Amanda.
And you're watching the Junction Fiber Mill Millcast.
Millcast.
Yeah. Welcome.
Welcome. So we are two friends.
Two
who
friends.
started a fiber mill back in 2020, 2021.
Yeah.
We the business came together in 2020, and we actually started making yarn here in 2021.
Right. And we are in White River Junction, Vermont, which is halfway up the state on the east side, right along the Connecticut River. So Dartmouth College is a stone's throw. Oh, and the other fabulous King Arthur flower
Yes,
is
that's what we're known for.
one of our neighbors.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So,
how you doing?
I'm good.
Yeah?
Kind of. No, not really. I think both of us are on antibiotics right now. Kind of a mess.
Yeah.
It's in the stars right now.
Feeling better, but
my temperature is like
I never
back to normal.
got a temperature.
Yeah, I think I had /have a non-communicable strep because I've been 48 hours into the antibiotics. Yeah, and you.
Yeah, I just got a sinus infection that led to an ear infection, and who knows? Is it transitioning from winter weather to spring weather? Who knows? I don't know, but
the hope
we're getting better.
Is that it passes by the time that shearing happens, and that no one else in the house gets sick. Yeah. So far they haven't. So I've been home a few days by myself, which has been fine.
You want to get your knitting going?
Oh, I do. Thank you for reminding me. I am working on the Stockholm sweater by Petite Knit, which I feel like I've said for 10 million weeks in a row, but I have made some progress.
What size needles are you doing it on?
I think these are 7s. Let me see. They might be 6s.
6s or 7s? Because it's going to be maybe boring, but I'm using the same wool as Amanda is for the next thing, which I haven't started yet, for my other son-in-law. Yeah. And I'm going to do it with the same. Amanda and I, when we made this yarn, we were both like, "Ooh, gotta get some." Yeah. But I finally finished my.
You finished it.
Yes. Let me show you a couple pictures. This is Jason wearing the Dustlander, right? Stephen West.
The Dustland.
The Dustland. Sorry, and it is done and has been shipped.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm a little nervous. It might be too big. Can't quite tell from the photos, but. We're going to be going over to Portland soon to visit them, and I'll see it in person.
Like, get the sweater out.
Yeah. But nice to have that done. So I've got to do my other son-in-law.
And what are you wearing?
Oh gosh, I forgot to look up I knit this forever ago. I actually dyed it, spun it, and knit it, and it's it's one of these knit sideways sweaters, and I don't know if you're going to be able to tell in the back. I don't know if it comes through to this.
There's like a beautiful. Should try to like pull it up without touching your bum. Yeah, there you go. I think people can see it. That's really beautiful. Yeah,
I love the colors. And it's one where again I hate. This is when I wasn't mature enough to say yes, you can do buttonholes. That I have these buttons that you just pop in.
Looks lovely.
Yeah, makes me happy. Yeah.
So
I don't remember what the yarn.
Oh, sorry.
I don't remember what the wool was. It
looks like a Teeswater or something.
It may have some kind of Teeswater. I don't think it's
lustrous.
Pure. It isn't pure Teeswater, but in any case, nice. It might be pure Teeswater. I don't know. Anyhow,
so you got to do. Do you know what pattern you're going to use for your next?
I was going to do the one that you had done for Cody, another petite knit, and I decided I'm striking out. I'm going in a different direction, but I haven't totally landed. So when I have on the next Millcast, I'll be halfway done and I'll know what the pattern is.
Totally.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, my one recommendation for this yarn is don't try to do anything fancy.
Oh, I'm not. No, it's going to be a pure raglan pullover.
Yeah, because you saw I had a second sample knit for Cody at one point that basically ended up getting frogged, but it was like a cabled situation.
Yeah,
with this
and it
yarn,
would totally get lost.
It's totally wasted on this yarn. When you're doing this like marled yarn, it really just wants stockinette. So
yeah, exactly.
Maybe garter.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But by the way, so this came from Hogwash Farm over in Norwich, and their shearing was yesterday.
Oh, really?
So it'll be a while before it may not be until the fall.
Well, it makes total sense to do as our Vermont Sheep and Wool Festival offering, because it is like truly such a local yarn. So I think that makes sense. And it takes a while for us to sort all the colors into the 3 different so they're Jacob sheep, which means they have polka dots of different colors. Yeah. And so we take the fiber and we sort it into like lightest, second lightest, darkest.
Yeah.
And
so Leslie O'Hara is the she raises pigs. She raises a lot, turkeys, pigs, and she just loves these Jacobs. And she didn't have any plastic bags, so I drove over to bring her some plastic bags. She wasn't there at her farm.
To store those.
But I saw all the sheep out in the field, and I go, do I see 3 different colors? Because last time we sorted it out into 3 colors, and I said, people, sheepies, we need 3 distinct colors. Anyway,
please sort yourselves accordingly.
Yes, yeah. So that will take us a little time to go through the fleece and separate out all the individual colors.
Would it be easier if we just picked 3 different sheep that were solid color? Probably, but it's less fun.
But you want the breeds. You're right. If you had a breed like I do,
you could do this with the Corriedale, where you do
because I have white, I have silver gray, and I have jet black.
Right. So you can take all those, and it's the same breeds.
And what we're talking about is that if you took one breed, say a Romney, and it was jet black, and then you did a single, and then you plied it with a white Jacob, it wouldn't be happy because they have very different characteristics. And so when you ply them together, they're going to kind of not sing in harmony. So you really, if you're going to do this marled effect, you want what you're plying to be of the same breed in an ideal world. So
Speaking of
animals,
marling.
well, hold on. Speaking of animals.
Okay. Oh yes, sorry. Jumped the gun.
I know you haven't been well, so you've been kind of reclined.
I'm trying to ignore.
But I'm telling you, everywhere I go, I'm seeing. Oh, there's 5. The deer are all out in the fields now, looking for just a little bit of grass that might be popping up. And not 1 or 2 deer, like 6 deer, like crazy. And then the turkeys. There's just flocks of turkeys all over the place. And then in my house, I know they're not called ladybugs, they're called something else, but they look like ladybugs.
Yeah.
It's just life. It's like, spring has arrived and everybody's out getting themselves ready. It's wild.
We had the talk with Maeve last night.
What the hell does that mean? About turkeys? Where babies come from?
Every night, it is important that you look around you and see, do I have any tiny little bugs crawling on me? That's the important talk in this area, which is
ticks.
Deer ticks are out. They're being spotted again. So while it's great that life comes back, the one major downside is ticks. So it's great to have a kid who can actually have some agency. And she did. She looked all around. She saw in her bed. I was like, we need to kick the dog right out of your bed. She's not allowed to sleep in there anymore.
Yeah.
She has it could have ticks. So anyways, that's the one bummer of the thing. But it is nice to see.
But you got to be vigilant.
Yeah, you do. And I'm like, oh my God. So now, in addition to myself, I have 2 kids to worry about. It's tough.
Yeah, and but you got to get it in a routine, and this is just what we do. We can't go forward with the next activity till we've done,
tick check.
Yeah. Anyway, speaking of marled, we have a very exciting a new yarn that we want to share with you. Again, it's a limited edition with a little something extra. But before we do that, I want to show you where that little something extra came from. Todd and I live up in this kind of upper bowl. We've shared pictures before. It's absolutely bucolic. Our driveway is right next to Miller Road, and I want to talk to you about Miller Road. It's just next to our driveway, and it's in White River Junction. And at the end of Miller Road live our neighbors. You guessed it, the Millers. George and Linda Miller have been dairy farmers, cheesemakers, and since George was a kid, maple syrup producers. Along the roads and on their property, you can find their classic buckets hanging from taps collecting sap. And they also use blue tubes strung through the woods, all feeding down to a stainless steel tub. And as you walk by that tub, you can hear the plink, plink of the sap filling the tank. And on their vast property is their sugar shack. And as I approached it recently, you knew they were cooking as the steam billowed out. George was there with friends from the neighborhood, boiling down the sap.
Syrup, it'll float right at that red line.
Right.
So leave it just a little bit above the red line showing good when it is syrup, but it's just a little bit short right there.
Right.
So I'm going to let it boil just a little bit longer and check it.
So George, introduce yourself and tell me what we're doing here.
Yeah, well, I'm George Miller and live in Hartford, Vermont. And we're just making maple syrup, so it's a simple evaporation process. And so it concentrates about, say, 40 gallons of raw sap at 2% sugar into maple syrup at 66% sugar.
So does that, when you say 40, it takes 40 gallons of raw sap to get how much maple syrup?
1 gallon.
Get a gallon?
Yeah, so it varies depending on sugar content and so forth. So we've been doing it since my brother and I did it when we were kids, 8 or 10 years old, and graduated when we started commercially in 1976 with a friend of mine, and we make syrup continually. We haven't missed a year since 1976.
Crazy. And what's the typical amount of sap you'll collect in a year? Ballpark.
We make somewhere around between 200 and 300 gallons of syrup. So
okay.
If you multiply that by 40,
right,
you come up with a figure.
And I saw you had some trees are being tapped with buckets and some with the hoses. When did the hoses come in?
Oh, they've been around since I'd say late 50s.
Oh, really?
But they would have been pretty primitive at that time, and they've just perfected it. A lot of big producers use a vacuum system with the thing, so they constantly draw in up to like 27, 28 inches of vacuum, which means it's pulling the sap away from the tree continuously.
But you're relying on gravity, right?
Because we've got a pretty good grade, but it doesn't take all the guesswork out of it. With the vacuum, it'll pull sap from the trees when it's 40 degrees for several days in a row without freezing. Our trees with gravity, it freezes at night somewhere between 15 and 26 degrees, and then thaws between 37. Well, as soon as it's freezing, above freezing, then it comes down with tubes.
I guess that was what I always thought, is that the conditions that you needed were warmer days and cold nights.
Yeah, traditionally, and to do it with buckets and gravity flow pipeline, you do.
Right.
The vacuum system is taking a lot of guesswork out of it.
Right.
Marginal days where my trees wouldn't run, they'll pull sap.
Okay.
And but generally, it's not quite as sweet as I saw in the news just the other day. Some guy started, and his sap was 1% sugar, and ours started out just over 2%.
Okay.
But it's because the tree's giving it up on its own. You're not taking it from it.
Oh, okay. Okay. So when did you start tapping this year?
February 22nd.
Okay. Is that typical?
Yeah. Our season generally with our trees is somewhere the month of March.
Okay.
Sometimes we boiled into the 10th of April or so, and there's a few years we've made syrup in February, but traditionally it's the month of March. So I hate to, so the long range forecast nowadays, you can say, well, in 10 days it's going to run for, it's going to warm up for 4 or 5 days. So, and we saw that in the end of February, so we tapped and got ready. A friend of mine helped us out in tapping in the sugar house.
Right.
So.
I don't know if this is the fair question. Is the demand for Vermont maple syrup as strong as it's ever been?
They say it is, but they said last year, I think they quoted that they made 3.1 million gallons in Vermont, the most in any lower 48 states. But the price has kind of leveled out.
Oh, is that right?
Because there's so much being made.
Okay.
15, 20 years ago, before the vacuum system started to come in, Vermont would make on average 500,000 gallons.
Oh, God.
So people have expanded there's people around tapping 100,000 taps a year, and more 50,000 and up. So they're making a lot of syrup. So
which is pushed the price down.
Yeah.
But that's a huge shift.
Increase. Oh yeah.
Oh,
That's
wow.
huge. And they all the big producers and the wholesalers say there's still demand for it. And, you know, I sold out this past year right down to like 10 pints of syrup before we started making this year.
Right.
So we can sell 250 gallons a year.
Yeah.
Just word of mouth and old new customers.
Sure.
But to make, you know, thousands of gallons like these big producers, they're selling the wholesale.
Right.
And the wholesale price hasn't been that great.
Right. But the
same.
retail price is pretty strong.
Yeah, but we had one point, 5 or 6 years ago, we were getting $50 a gallon, and then kind of the average price looked like it was closer to 45, so we dropped that price back down. Because you can't be that much overpriced.
Right.
Some people will say, oh, it's worth more than that. And I said, well, give me more. It's on your own, but generally, you know, you can't be. I always said there's like 3 different kinds of customers. The ones that will buy it off you at any price, your loyal customers, and then people that worry about the price, and then other people that buy it from the first guy they come to, you know, that aren't loyal to one producer or anything. So, yeah.
Well, I have to say, just in this neighborhood, it seems like there's a sugar shack.
There's several of them.
There's quite a few.
Yeah.
Although yours strikes me as one of the bigger operations in terms of, I mean.
Well, yeah, but not far away. There's a producer tapping 70 to 80,000 taps.
Right. That's kind of in a different league.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, Todd just does a small thing in the driveway.
There's a lot of backyard people.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of people get in and they're mid-size and find that they can't really make any money.
Right.
So they do it for a few years and give it up.
Yeah.
So,
is it going all right?
Yep.
All right. Well, I'll let you get back to work.
Yeah. So must put in a plug for my wife.
Okay.
She's a salesperson.
Oh, Linda's in charge of moving the inventory?
Generally, yeah.
Okay. Thanks. Can you explain what we're looking at?
Yeah, the first one is the Golden Delicate, the most lightest, very lightest. Next is the Amber Rich.
Right.
And the other one's the Dark Robust. So generally, the Dark Robust has more mapley flavor.
Right.
And it's all the same density though. So if you check it with a hydrometer, it's equal density. I had a guy one time said, oh yeah, I like the dark because it's thicker.
Oh, and you said
I didn't want to argue with the guy, but like no,
but no, it's not.
But,
okay. But the more prized is the lighter.
Well, in the old days it used to be. In the old days, the darker syrup, my grandfather charged less for the darker syrup because it really is lesser quality.
Right.
In a way. And but today I sell much more amber rich and dark than I do light syrup.
Oh, interesting.
And the light syrup is really, you can drink it. I mean, it's not a really strong sweetness, you know. So
got it.
And the darker, it's a stronger flavor. So
right, it's got more flavor, yeah. Huh.
Now I'm a diabetic, so I'm careful about it.
So how do you know when, what are the ideal conditions to tap?
Well, in our case where we hang some buckets and do just a gravity pipeline. It's somewhere, our season's usually the month of March and a little bit into April, but I think 10th of April is, the 10th or 12th is the latest we've ever boiled. By the end of the season, you're making pretty dark syrup. There's sugars in it's a complex sugar in maples. So it's made up of glucose, fructose, and sucrose. So generally early in the season, there's a bigger percentage of glucose. So you make a lighter, nicer, more delicate syrup. And the later, when the buds start to swell, then the complexity of the sap changes, so it's more fructose.
Oh.
So it makes darker syrup.
Oh, okay. I did not realize.
More
Okay.
stronger flavor.
Got it.
So.
Huh.
But,
All right.
you can see how when the bubbles get, it's starting to see like there's an apron. So it's getting pretty close to syrup. You can see the bubbles on the
Oh, yeah.
will get larger when it's closer to syrup. But it's syrup at 219 to 220 degrees boiling point because of the density and the sugar content make it at a higher boiling point.
Got it. Wow. He's an amazing guy.
Mm-hmm. He really is. He's a classic Vermonter.
He is. He grew up in Hartford, and I want to say he's at least fourth or fifth generation. Sorry, George, I should have asked you that. But in any case, what you saw being made is right here. What you saw boiling is this physical. It's 8 ounces of George's syrup, labeled with his address and the as he showed you the different colors. This is the Vermont Grade A Amber, rich taste. It's a pale, pale color, pale enough to match exactly, give or take a hue, the yarn that we've made. So this is Sugar on Snow, and we have a limited amount of it. And when you get it, you'll get 2 skeins plus 8 ounces of George Miller's unbelievable Vermont syrup that was boiled right there in that video.
Plus, you'll get a little pattern card to suggest if you want to knit the Oslo hat by Petite Knit. And this is how we made a sample in-house. Liz cooked this up for us.
Yeah.
And this is a really cozy hat. What I love about this is it's got this beautiful like double layer thick brim, and then it folds right up and has
so then it's even 3 layers.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's good. That's toasty warm.
Yeah.
Very cute.
Very cute.
Yeah, so again, that'll become available on Tuesday at 10 o'clock.
Yes,
and
the Sugar on Snow box. You can find it on our website.
Yeah, and we thank George and Linda for letting us share some of their story.
Yeah.
We had some great comments on the last Millcast, and I have to start with an apology. I happened to mention that my husband snores. 2 things I neglected to mention. Number 1, he doesn't snore every night. I don't think I meant that clear. Here's what I really failed to mention. I occasionally snore too.
Wow.
Todd is a great sport. When he started seeing the comments coming in on the Millcast,
tell Todd he needs to start his own YouTube channel.
Well, or he doesn't want to start a YouTube channel, but if we're going to put him in ours, we better get our facts straight. Anyway, Todd, I apologize. You don't snore all the time.
Public apology.
Yeah, a little bit. Anyway, I also happen to mention a book that I thought I couldn't decide, do I dump it or not? And many of you said, hey, it's not worth it. If you're not liking it, punt. You know what? It grew on me.
Okay.
Yeah. And I did finish it, and I actually enjoyed it. It's a nice little book. It's called The Wedding People. I'm sure you've heard of it. Lots of people are, it's on lots of bestsellers.
I've never heard of it.
Alison Espach. Okay. And it's called The Wedding People. And
what's the genre?
It's women's chicklet. It's chicklet. Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
All right.
But it was fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
On the subject of what we're consuming.
Yeah.
I will say, because I have had sick days the last couple days.
Yeah.
Yesterday, I decided to really lean into it, and I watched the entire second season of Shrinking on Apple TV, and I loved it.
Yeah,
and it was fun to spend all day with it, and so it's just been in my head. It's really good. It's the one with Harrison Ford, and what's the other guy who's the main guy? I forget his name. Anyways, doesn't matter.
He's tall. He was in Saving Sarah Marshall. I think that was
Marshall and How I Met Your Mother. Yeah. And all that. Anyways.
Yeah, I can't remember the actor's name.
Can't remember his name, but it's just a great show. It's very like Ted Lasso in a way.
Well, you know that I was just about to say, Bill Lawrence, the guy who created Ted Lasso, is the guy who created this.
That makes total sense.
Yeah.
It's just like heartwarming, family,
great comedy. Group of characters.
Yeah, it's great. So it was fun to be with that all day yesterday.
Excellent.
While I was sick. I'll put a plug in there for that. If anyone needs like a sick day show. Shrinking. It's very uplifting. Yeah.
I've been when Todd goes curling. Todd is. I hope his last day of curling was last night. I watched.
Not your hair, folks.
No, curling on the ice.
Yeah.
He loves it. When he's gone, I've been watching White Lotus because it's.
I haven't seen the third season.
I'm doing the third season, which is set in Thailand, and trying to do some knitting. But I'm not like you. I can't really. I can do audio, but I can't really knit and watch TV.
I've kind of like stopped doing the knitting and watching TV. Actually, I think like it. I have realized how much I've missed from the TV. So if I like want to pay attention. Which now I do, because it's so rare. Like, I just don't have that much time. Like, basically, I watched more TV yesterday than I've watched in the entire 2025 combined. Yeah. So, like, when I get time to watch TV, I'm mostly just, like, focusing on TV and catching more. Anyways, so, yeah. But White Lotus.
That's not a Todd one at all. So, I got the latest episode.
I got Cody into it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You know, as Todd says, they're all despicable characters. And Todd really, I agree with him. There's very few redeeming characters. So anyway.
Okay, one more plug. I'm sorry to sidetrack us.
Yeah.
I rewatched a movie too on Monday. So that means I really loved it. A Total Pain. The one that had Kieran Culkin in it. And Jesse Eisenberg. Have you guys watched that?
Yeah.
Okay. He
won so many awards. The actor.
I loved that movie so much. But the guy who's in White Lotus season 2 is the tour guide in that movie. That made me think of it.
Oh, in season 2.
Yes, in Italy.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He's in that movie. Who's the tour guide?
Yeah, if you haven't seen that,
I thought it was so great.
Is it the Total Pain or the Real Pain?
A Real Pain.
Yeah, a Real Pain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved it so much. Watching it again, like, hit me less hard than the first time, but it was still like. I just think it's such a good, like, especially with men in it and as an emotional movie. It was great.
Totally agree with you.
Yeah.
We want to remind you. You want to talk about shopping? We're a mill. Let's be clear. Yes, we have yarn for sale, but we're a mill, and we have what we refer to as our warehouse retail space.
Yes.
But it's not. It's not always staffed, and what we know is more people kind of learn about us or discover us. They want to come and visit, and we welcome that. But we need you to make an appointment because we don't keep like regular hours where we know we can have folks who can simply step away from the equipment. Right, and because when you're in the mill, you got the headphones on and you're paying attention to the equipment, and it's. Yeah. And this is in a totally separate part of the mill. So we do have, to make this hopefully easy for folks, we've set up on our website a shopping appointments page, and you can book not only virtual appointments, which are over Zoom, so then you have somebody, usually Liz, can grab a skein and show it to you and you can help decide, you make does this color go with this one? I mean, we know it's so hard to shop for making tracks, the variegated yarn, on the internet because you don't know exactly what you're going to get. Right. Virtual appointments help you get exactly what you have seen, at least over Zoom. And then we also have the in-person shopping appointments through the warehouse retail space. And just to be clear, we can't do tours usually during these because, again, we've got the equipment running. It's a safety thing. And our insurance company has made it clear. So if you want to tour, open house, you can. But you can come see our semi-retail space, the warehouse retail space. If you book an appointment there. And again, the reason we ask that you book an appointment is just because then we know we have somebody who can like help you out, answer questions, do the cash register. Yeah, like we know someone's coming at 9:00 this morning. Right, exactly. And we'll be ready for it. Yeah, so if you do simply drop by the mill,
most likely we're going to have to turn you away.
And we don't mean to be rude. We appreciate it but we just ask that you check online. If for whatever reasons you can't manage online, there's a phone number you can call and arrange it through the phone.
Yep.
Start with online if you can, but if that isn't working for you, give us a call.
And just as an FYI, both of those appointments do require a deposit that you then get back off of your purchases. And that's just because we've had experiences in the past with people canceling last minute and then we've staffed it, and that's not really cool either. So we're trying to find a way that's fair to our team, that we're arranging schedules around these appointments. And also, gives you your money back once you buy a skein of yarn.
Welcome your feedback or your thoughts on this if you want to add some comments. But we just wanted to make sure that was clear. Yeah. Yeah. But speaking of open houses,
our next one is in April.
April 19th.
It's going to be a weekend. So
the Saturdays seem to work well. I think more people can take advantage of it.
Makes sense.
So Saturday the 19th, I will be here because you won't.
Well, I said I probably can. You said, oh no, I got this, because we are leaving for France the next day.
So cool.
So we might be scrambling.
Yeah. And it's not just you and Cody.
It's me, Cody, and the children.
That's a commitment. Yeah.
We're going to have a great time.
Yeah, so the open house is on the 19th, and if you're really thinking ahead, we will be at the Maryland Sheep and Wool Festival and at the New Hampshire Sheep and Wool Festival. Those are the first 2 weekends in May. And
so excited to see how it goes with the new system, just rolling these racks out. It's going to be great.
Yep, we had a, not dry run, we did it twice at Wayland, and it worked out really well. And Maryland's a long drive, so we've got a little tweaking that we're still doing to it. But we're excited.
Right. Cool.
So that's the news.
Well, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
Be well.
Bye.